Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of our podcast, Good Morning Marketers. I'm Nicole, junior graphic designer, and here with me is Ben, senior graphic designer. So today we're going to talk about how to break into the creative industry as a graphic designer after graduating from university. So Ben, we both went to Solent Uni, right?
Yes.
Yeah, in Southampton.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated in 2021. When did you graduate?
I think it was 2018 now, so quite a while ago, yeah.
Yeah, so that was 3-4 years before me. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I actually went to uni on the first year. My first year was 2018, and then your last year was 2018.
So we just missed each other.
We just missed each other. Okay. So Ben, tell me about your experience at uni. What did you get up to at Solent Uni?
Cool. So I studied graphic design. In my second year, I took the opportunity to study graphic design with new media. I went down the more digital route as if that's where my strengths laid as a graphic designer. Today we're here to talk about tips and tricks to land a job in the creative industry. For me, if you're a university student, university is so key to making the most of your time whilst you're there.
So did you do an undergraduate course, or did you do a postgraduate, or did you stop at 3 years?
I stopped at 3 years, so I did
same as me then.
Yeah, I did an undergraduate, but I did a placement in there as well. So I did a placement with Southampton Football Club, which was good. It was good to sort of work in a marketing environment to get an understanding of how the marketing industry works while still at university.
Okay.
And then I also did it was kind of like a mini Erasmus in Austria. So I went to Vienna and we did a placement over there to learn.
Was that part of university? Did you go visit some design studios?
Yeah, so it was in conjunction with the Applied Sciences University in Austria. So it was a connection that Solent and Vienna had.
Nice.
So there was an exchange of students who would go over, and it was good for us to learn the trends of Austrian graphic design and what they were up to.
Same as me. We had a trip in Amsterdam. I remember in my first year, and it was really good because we went to see some design studio. People think that Amsterdam is just fun, but actually, there was some really creative studios that we went to visit. Some really nice building. Just the culture. I feel like the graphic design, because me being Italian, I had to move to the north of Europe to find this graphic design environment, which is not really that popular in the south of Europe for some reason. So I feel like my personal journey at the uni was actually really good because I know this is where design is born, just in the north.
I would recommend any student that's at university to make the most of those placements to just expand their knowledge, work what other students are doing. For me now, I reference my placements both at the football club and the work that I did in Vienna now. And I think employees love it. And a lot of the time, these placements are paid for by the universities. So you need to be checking out these programs. You can get grants, you can get funding. So although that at university we like to smaller days, short hours, I think placements should be encouraged. And I appreciate that a lot of time they're not paid, but the value they add to your LinkedIn profile and CV is an absolute must. And for me, that helped me get my last job for sure.
Yeah, I've done a lot of experience as a bit of freelancer, but it was more like volunteering work during my uni career. I feel that helped a lot getting a job later because I could add that to my CV. So I reckon for people that are not doing those placements because something happens, because for me, I wasn't able to do an Erasmus or anything because COVID hit, and then I wasn't able to do it. So I had to find something else to do. So I started doing some freelance. So I still include that in my portfolio. Because employers, especially, they appreciate when you do some volunteer, they appreciate the effort of you putting yourself out there. So how did you build your portfolio to get a job right after uni?
A couple of things. So I took all of the projects that I did at university and I included them into my portfolio. But for me, what was key was to include development work in there. So I looked at a lot of portfolios and you can get a bit of, head trash around looking at portfolios that look really amazing and they show all the final products and final pieces. But one thing that I've learned now where I'm in a position where I scan portfolios and CVs, I think that development work is absolutely key. Because people, they appreciate looking at the journey. So it's very nice looking at the finished piece, but actually you can appreciate the steps that they got to in getting there. So for me, I included a lot of development work in my portfolio, designs I didn't necessarily use, but you could see how I got to my final piece from there. So
same. I included a lot. I included literally every step from the idea, all the process, including even mock-ups. But that's what university teach me, because during uni we had to do this development book. So for every assignment we had to produce this piece of book where we had to include all the information, how all the journey, how we got to the final piece, because at the end of it, design is solving a problem. So what problem you're solving, because we see out there so many pieces, really nice over design, but then actually what's the concept, what's the idea, what you're solving. So I guess that's what landed me a job as well, actually having project that from 0 to 100, like I can explain the journey, I can explain how design got that way, and that's what people appreciate, because it's just solving problems, I guess.
And I think with the portfolio as well, is I was designing my portfolio whilst I was still at university.
Nice, yeah.
So it's good to pick the brains of your lecturers and build the relationships with the lecturers that you have, because they've seen so many portfolios over the years. So I think how many years they've been at the university, they've seen everything. So it's good to pick their brains, and they'll tell you what they like, don't like.
Yeah.
And I also think it's important, another tip would be to build a relationship with those lecturers, because like I said, they've seen so many CVs and portfolios. But think of how many graduates that have left the university that have gone on to creative jobs and roles who also have relationships with the lecturers that you could potentially pull on. So when you come to finishing your university final major project, you can ask your lecturer, do you have any links? Do you have any connections? See if they have any placements. Yeah. Someone once taught me a trick on LinkedIn where you can go on LinkedIn, you can see students that went to certain university that attended the graphic design course, and you can even view like who lives in a 10-mile radius. And my lecturer just told me to connect with those people and just invite them for a coffee. And even if you don't ask for any work, and just to learn creative peers, make connections, make friends.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Pull on the resources that your lecturers have.
Yeah, I actually built a really good connection with my lecturer, and they paired me up with a person while I was in uni that recommended me to a company. So my first actually internship was thanks to this guy that works previously for this company. So I got the internship from my uni because I was really in a nice connection with my lecturer. So everything went fine. Until the time that I had to actually find a job, because internship is fine, it's easy to find, because maybe you have some, I don't know, they're maybe, they're telling you, I'm not going to pay you or pay you £100, but actually you realize at some point you need to start your career.
For sure.
Like internship is just the first step after graduating, but then when it comes to get a real job, it gets a bit harder. I guess when I first joined Michelin Stones, I was a bit afraid, because it was an environment where everyone was so professional, and that was you as well. Well, actually, funny story, Mr. Ben found me on LinkedIn. I connected with him, and actually he went to Solent University. It was in my connection, and then he posted a job role posting about they were looking for a graphic designer, and I messaged him on LinkedIn, and turned out that Mr. Ben Sharpe already had my contact in in his notes. He already. I was already on his list. So yeah, that's actually a really fun fact.
Yeah, I think it's worth talking about LinkedIn actually, because although university is good for the portfolio building and building the connections with LinkedIn, you need to make the most of LinkedIn, and they just don't really teach you that at university from graphic design point of view. I think
the only thing I had actually in my third year was a branding project, self-branding project that actually helped me, because I actually created my own logo, my own CV, and that's the same one that then I've used to use it for like.
But I think where we've attended like a design school, for me, I always assumed that LinkedIn was a platform for people studying business studies, like more traditional, formal kind of industry work. But actually, it couldn't be more wrong. Graphic design on LinkedIn is massive, and we see it. It's booming and it's popping off right now. Even
just sharing your portfolio pieces, instead of just having in your PDF that no one's seen, just sharing to the people on Instagram, on any other platform. Because at the end of it, like if you're looking for a job, okay, you need to look for a job. The job is not coming to you. But again, because I was on LinkedIn, I was active, I was connecting with the right people. I found you and you found me. Yeah. So it's all about putting yourself out there, showcasing your work, actually build your own portfolio. So what do you say? What are the best tips you can give me how to build a good portfolio as a designer after graduating? So let's say like base level, really like junior level.
Yeah. Okay. First thing, I would put all of your education in there. So look at putting in all the way back to secondary school if you want to. Your A-levels in there, BTECs, any creative pieces, any awards you've received, your university in there, your degree. And then even if you don't have any, actual jobs in the creative industry yet, I'll just flesh it out. And let's say that you did a internship. In a way, you can milk it. You can play off as you've been acting like a freelancer. Even if you made a logo for your dad's best mate.
Yeah, it's still freelance work.
Still a freelancer. So just show that you're active. I'd be doing some posting on there. I'd show that you're active. I'd write a bio. I'm thinking clean profile picture.
Is that LinkedIn,
header, yeah, all on LinkedIn. Headers, profile pictures. Maintain professionalism, I think, is important. And then you can start adding your portfolio as like featured pieces so that when you're a hiring manager like myself, I can go on these profiles. I can see all of the information straight away. And I can see the CV, you can see the portfolio. For me, the CVs now are just like, they're such dying out. I don't understand why you would need a CV if you've got a LinkedIn profile, because you can add all your skill sets on there and you can include references from employers on there. You can get everything within like 30 seconds of scanning a LinkedIn profile page. So for me, what's the point in a CV anymore, essentially?
Okay. Nice. Interesting.
And just on the CVs, we're seeing a massive change in that now with CV and portfolio. So a lot of people will put their effort into portfolios. And for me, for the creative industry, that is so much more important than a CV. We're seeing trends all the time of people like, you've seen them before on LinkedIn before, where people will recreate the BBC Sport web pages.
Oh yeah, even logos. Yeah,
yeah.
Even logos.
Or people have done the Spotify before. I think as a hiring manager now, as millennials are coming more into the senior positions, I think we're becoming less formal, especially in the creative industry. And
the word is changing.
I see Word docs and CVs all the time, and to me, I'm so bored of them. I've seen those Word doc templates so many times before. I think people appreciate now more pieces that have had actual thought gone into it.
Yeah, a bit of authenticity as well. I feel like all the templates that you find on Canva for your CV is just boring. And if you're a designer especially, you should have a creative CV. Yeah. I remember making mine completely it was a printed document that was like a letter, so you could send it online or you could send it to the company in person. So think about really a good concept for it. So building your personal brand for what you are and what you have to propose. Because what happens is that the people, you're not just doing anything, because that's what I learned in uni as well. Because at first, as a designer, I was just doing everything, but then I started realizing what was my specialty, what I actually liked doing. So could have been website, could have been branding, but I knew that was my niche, and I knew that I wanted to incorporate that because the job I wanted to get was something related to it. Because for me, I've never been really good at illustrations. So then I'm not going to go into a company to make illustration. I know it's graphic design, but graphic design is so broad. So I think you build your CV and your just personal image based on what you want to do. That's really important, because it can get really confusing. Because as a hiring manager, you just see a designer just does everything. It's so much better if you're specialized in something. Maybe you're really good at animation, so maybe your CV just really leads to animations. Yeah. So I think that's really important to keep your niche nailed down.
Would you say there you're throwing shade at those job advertisements that require a designer to be an illustrator, a printer, a video animator, absolutely everything. And still be a junior designer?
Yeah. And then they're requiring 7,000 years of experience. Yeah. I really don't know how you can get 7,000 years experience, but I feel like the experience you get from internship, again, freelance work, is all in there. But I feel if you search well enough, then you're going to find something.
If you're a junior designer, recent graduate, and you're on the hunt and you're seeing these positions come available with roles that want you to be X, Y, and Z, it's probably a red flag anyway. So I wouldn't want you to feel any sort of head trash around that. You should just look at it and think, do you know what? If they want me to be everything, probably not worth it. And the stress that you'll get caused by applying for those roles, I'll probably just dodge it, to be honest. So putting all these tips into practice, you've been there before. How did you deal with the no's? Because ultimately the industry is so competitive. Have you got any advice on what to do when employees say no, or they just air you? And because it's unrealistic to expect to walk straight into a role.
I remember graduating June 2021 and getting my first internship in September. And then my actually first job the January later. So that's been like 6 months after graduating. And in the meantime, I probably got around 100 no's. I apply for maybe like 150 companies. Some people will not reply to you. Some people will just say straight no. You don't have enough experience. You just say, thank you. I'm sorry. I hope we'll keep in touch. I hope we cross path in the future. You still need to play it nice because these people can always be useful for you. So always keep in touch with these people. And then, I received probably loads of no until the one. So I would say maybe my advice is literally never give up. That's what I did. Because if you let yourself go down, then you're just going to say, oh yeah, I'll just get a job at the pub. Because I know lots of people just do that. They're like, oh, I graduated. Now I'll just take a break because it's hard to get a job. Yeah, it's hard. But if you put some work, then it's going to be all rewarded.
Yeah. I think
that's what happened.
I think it's important to note that, everyone is different. And actually, when I graduated, I probably wanted 3 months just away from graphic design, just to sort of relax post-university. And I think that's natural. But once you get past that 3 months, I started getting itchy feet, and I wanted to get into the industry. And even I was receiving a lot of no's. But I think persistency is key. And it won't last forever. And even if it's an internship or you go down a different route and maybe you go more the marketing route, you're not going to be unemployed forever. It's just persistency is key, and you will get there eventually. Yeah.
I look at us now. We're here together
doing a podcast.
Talking about university. Wow.
There we go.
That was good. Well, thank you so much, Ben, for today. And that was really helpful, hopefully for all of you as well. And thank you and see you soon.